Hey leaders, this is Dr. Fletcher, and today we're going to talk about differentiation in the classroom and what it will look like. So, what are the 4 ways to differentiate? Let's get started. To begin, I started with a book that will give us some research on differentiation. This book is called The Differentiated Classroom: Responding to the Needs of All Learners by Carol Ann Tomlinson. It begins by sharing the 4 ways to differentiate. You differentiate through content, process, product, and environment. It gives 4 specific ways to differentiate, and these are the 4 ways that we're going to share with our teachers and we're going to look for later in classrooms and inside lesson plans. What I'm going to have you do is to start giving your teachers support in what differentiation really should look like. What is it? Differentiation is the productive and proactive response to the learner's needs. So it's what the teacher actually does to change instruction to meet the needs of the learners in the classroom. Differentiation is always needed. So right off the bat, there are 4 ways to differentiate. So the first way to differentiate is really going to come with the content, the information and the ideas that the student is grappling with. That is your content. The second way to differentiate would be through the actual process. And so we see that happen. And so when we think about process, we think about how. Content, we think about the what. Process, we think about how. And so when we think about how differentiation can look in that process, we think about how teachers might use visual aids. Teachers might use total physical response, TPR. We think about graphic organizers, right? So teachers use graphic organizers to help students process the content. All of those are great means of differentiation, ones that we should see in lessons every day. The third way to differentiate is through product. So we think about product, we think about the standard and the information remaining the same for everyone, and possibly the process, how the information is taken in, is the same for everyone, but every student or groups of students who have like needs, they produce a different product than others. And this is actually what the end result looks like. So a great example would be if I am an English language learner and I am learning English as a second language, I may read the same story or the same text as my peers, my English speaking peers. I may also be working on the same skill or standard as my other peers in the classroom who don't have English as a second language. However, what I produce as a finished product to show that I know and understand the content might look different because of my language barrier. And so that would be an example of how the product is differentiated. The fourth way to differentiate is through environment, by changing the environment. And so for most of us, it can generally mean changing the seating arrangements, allowing for small group activities, allowing for the environment to include paired work. Um, Oftentimes, when we think about flexible seating, we don't consider that there could be uh, pillows and rugs and different kinds of seats to help stimulate the brain and the body. Now, let's quickly review the action steps so that you can quickly turn this around to your teachers. Now, here's your action step. You're going to first share the 4 ways to differentiate with your teachers and staff. It's so important that if something is going to be an expectation in your building, it's one that is shared and everyone knows about it so that they can meet your expectations. 2, you're going to then look for one of those ways to differentiate, whether that be during a lesson planning session, a coaching session, or whether that's just during a classroom walkthrough. 3, you're then going to give a shout out when you see that. Celebrate your teachers as they are making progress to improve their instruction every day. I hope this video was helpful to you, and I hope that the communications are also supporting your work as a school leader in your buildings every day. This week, I also included information from John Maxwell. He gives us some words of wisdom around self reflection and making mistakes. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. A goal is a dream with a deadline. And so, with that comes trying new things, making mistakes, and being able to self reflect on what you learned and how you can grow for the next time.